Hello guys, it's Ridhira and I'm back with another hair default replacement tutorial. This time I'm going to show you how to add ages to a hair default using hidden clones. Now, before anything else, I need to show you what hidden clones actually are, so I'll try to demonstrate by showing you a few examples. If I give a sim a hair that isn't available for all categories, such as, well, we can do the ear hat. I'll select this, and if I look at her hair for other outfits, she will have a random hair selected. I can go to, oh, I really should have regenerated thumbnails before this. If I go to this hair in the catalog, I will see that it is selected. However, if I try one of the earlier hairs, such as this one, and I give her another outfit, she now has long simple. However, it is not selected in the catalog. That is because of hidden clones. There is a secret copy of F hair long simple that is used as a hatless state for this hair. This also works with hairs for different ages. So if I select a hair that is not available for all ages, not that there really are any good examples here, but I'll select this one. I'll age my sim down to a teenager. She gets a random hair. Age her back up to adult, and she has the same hair as she had as a teenager. Now this one is selected in catalog, and this one is also selected in the catalog. I can try with this hair instead, French braid. Age her down to a teenager, she still has the same hair. Age her down to a child, now she has CF hair formal. But again, if I go to where formal appears in the catalog, it is not selected. And then when I age her back up, she still has F hair French braid. And that is also because of hidden clones. I think their purpose is to somehow fill out the hair catalog because they have families and they need to be consistent for all ages. And then I think along the later expansion packs, they realize that it is in fact not necessary because the Sims will just get a random hairstyle anyway. You can play around with this, and when selecting a hair for this tutorial, I would advise you to actually check if there are hidden clones. Usually seasons and earlier, you're fine. I think these have them too. This one I know for sure has one. Age it down, she gets Meg. Age it back up, she still has Sweep. But yeah, so look through the catalog and find a hair that works for this. And then I will show you how to replace it. Now we're in SimPE. And for this tutorial, I will assume that you have followed my previous tutorial on the topic, because I will not be going into as much detail for how to do the actual replacement. I will instead be focusing on the things that are specific to making something like this show up. So I've gone ahead and searched for F hair French braid. I want to open it, and now you can see that I only get the TF and up resources. However, I want to replace the hair for toddlers and children as well. So I'm gonna copy the family line, Control C, and I will put that in the Finder and see what it's gonna give me. And now you can see that I have a bunch more resources. Again, I always try to use the ones from the most recent expansion pack, which is University Life in this case, so I don't really have to do anything with the base game ones. So then I will just start extracting these. And for earlier resources, they're not really that well sorted, which means it's sometimes harder to extract them, but here is how I usually do it. Double click, and then I have them sorted by instance. and then I just select the one that's next to it to make sure that I get them all and get all the resources that I need. So I will finish extracting these, put them in a new file, and then I will show you the rest of the process. Now I'm back with my file all set up. I've extracted the resources, re-imported them, and named the file something that I think makes sense. You can see that I have all of the resources for all of the ages, and now we're going to get started on making the actual default replacement by importing the new mesh information. I've selected the hair Sky Sims 149 retextured by Poppet, and we're gonna start with the mesh. Something you want to be mindful of here is that if you do want the hair to be available for all ages, you have to make sure that the mesh is actually also available for all ages, unless you know how to age convert hairs. I'm gonna take a quick look in the GMDC and check the group names, and then I'm just gonna start extracting the resources that I need. One last step before I start rebuilding the 3D ID referencing files is I'm going to check if this hair has a blank scalp texture by opening one of the recolors and checking this texture. I can see that it does in fact have a blank scalp texture, so in order to not need that, I'm going to import Scale's no texture material definition, commit and save, and then I won't need this texture, so I can just use this material definition for all of the hairs. Back in the default replacement, I'm going to start the process of rebuilding the 3D ID referencing files. I'm going to start with adults. So I will empty this out. I'll click package, scroll down to resource node and shape, and then find my material definition. If you don't have a hair with a blank scalp group, skip the material definition for now and just do the resource node and shape. Then I'll extract this and name it AF. And I will go through and make sure that I use that to replace the 3D ID referencing files of all the AF and YF hairs. If you do not have any YF resources or whatever hair it is you're replacing, then you can skip that, but just make sure that you get everyone that uses the same mesh. And this is probably the last one. Then I save, I delete these mesh resources, and I start with the next stage, which is child. That's gonna be terrible. Let's use this one instead. And then just do the same thing. Resource node shape and material definition, commit, extract, CF, and replace all of these. And then just do that for all of the ages. I now have the 3D ID referencing files for all ages and colors set up correctly. I'll delete this from the file for now. I'll come back to it later. And I'm also going to delete some extra resources from here because I will not be needing them anymore. And now it's time to start extracting the colors. So I will do, well, this is also shown in the previous tutorial, so I'll just go through this really quickly as well. I have all of my resources extracted and I'm back in the main file. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to start adding the different hair colors to the 3D ID referencing files. And for this, I kind of just go with what feels right, you know? No, I have a method, I promise. For the gray, for example, I can usually tell which one is the one that goes. with gray because if you look at the material definitions, I know that the one that ends in DO1 is for hair, and then this one is for gray. And then for black, I know that it's going to be the one with the same instance because that's the one that I used for hair and for gray. So now with the black line here, I need to add that to all of the different the ages for black. And that should be all of them. And then I just check. So the one with group D8, for example, I know is red. So I find that one. And then I just go through and add them all. And I will meet you back here when I've done that. So now what I have is all of my 3D-ID referencing files set up with all of the lines that they'll need for now. My next step will be to add the mesh resources. And here's what I do. I add the mesh, open, and then I save. And since when I was looking at the mesh before, I saw that all of them had like slightly different names. So when I edit the property sets, I need to remember that for toddler, it's hair and hair underscore alpha. For child, it will be hair and bangs underscore L3. For teen and adult, it's hair and hair alpha 5. And again, I've shown in the previous video how to do this. So I'll just be editing these as well. And what was this, hair alpha 5? You can delete this. And I guess what I can do is I can do one of each age. So I'll extract this as the AF one. And then I'll replace the CF one. And it's really enough that you change the age. You know, I like changing the name as well, so it is coherent with the other ones. You can change it back to CF hair formal instead of CF hair French braid, but I kind of like having the names like match what the hair is, because then it's easier at a glance to see what I'm working with. And then again, remember to change the name of the subset. And then the same for the toddler one. So I'll change it to PF hair, and then I'll do hair underscore alpha for this. And then of course you want to keep editing these. So this one is going to be blonde, and here's blonde again. I'll extract the child one, and this one is going to be blonde, and so on. And I'll be back when I've done the rest of these, and I'll show you what to do about the YF ones. So now at this point, when I only have the YF property sets left, I'm going to be treating these a little differently. I will keep these set to age young adult only, and I will keep them hidden in catalog. But the reason I still bother to replace these is because although these hairs aren't directly selectable in the catalog, they still appear on some pre-made dormies and NPCs, university sims, etc. of young adult age. They appear on some of the young adult bin sims. And your sims also have a chance of growing up wearing these hairs when they turn into young adults. Basically, a sim wearing TF hair French braid black when growing up into a young adult can grow up into either YF hair French braid black clone or AF hair French braid black, because both of those hairs are eligible for a sim with this hair color family. So I'll start with the AF one. I will change this back to 40. You can add clone black back in the name if you want, and then just set flags to 9 again. And that's what I do for those. So now with all of the resources in order, I'm gonna save. I'm gonna double check that I have the mesh, I have my textures and my material definitions. So now it's time to test this in Bodyshop. So I'll be moving this into my downloads folder. And we get to test this. So now that I'm in Bodyshop, I can test that the hair is working for all of the intended ages and colors. Here it is. So I can tell that it's appearing as intended. Here it is for teenagers. Looking good so far. And here it is for children. It's appearing on the sim. Same for toddlers. She is wearing the hair. However, if I look in the catalog, I can't actually find it. That is because for these hidden clones, there is an extra step, well, a couple of extra steps that you need to take to make them actually appear. At this point, since the flags are set to 0, they can actually still appear on babies growing up from babies to toddlers. They can appear on adopted children, and they can appear on newly generated children since they're townified. But yeah, what we need to do is we need to make them appear in the Create a Sim catalog. So I will go back to the file and I'll show you how to do that. So all you really need to do, and I will say that this is courtesy of the Measure of a Sim. She was the one who posted about this originally and who I learned this from. You need to add a few lines to, well, the hairs that aren't showing up in catalog, and generally those are the clone-based files, the resources. What you can do is that you can, well, first of all, I can delete all of these because I don't need them anymore. You can go into like any custom file and find a reference to use. This one is bad. Well, it would be fine, but let's do this one. I will extract this, and let's also extract the text lists and save. And I will go back into my new file. And what I'll do is I'll add both of these that I just extracted, and I'm gonna hit save. And now I need to basically copy over these lines. I'll start with UI data, and I will add that to all of the resources that need it. So all of the PF and CF ones need a UI data. And that should be all of them. And they also need text lists. And now I can go through here and just pick the ones that are italicized because that should be easier. Is that all of them? And finally, I need a collection. Oh, this one didn't want to open. Oops. And this one. And now that I've added all of those, I can delete this one again. The last line we need to add is property set, but I'm gonna go through and add those from here because the property sets are, well, it needs to be the property set corresponding to this. So for this one, it's gonna be, you look at the instance and you get the property set of the same instance. And as a bonus, if you exit out of here and then go back in, you'll see the name appear. And that's how you know it's ideally the correct one. And then you just scroll through these until you find the ones that need property sets added. Or you can keep, if you don't save the file, or if you haven't saved the file yet at this point, they will still be italicized, which can help you find the ones you need. But I prefer saving every now and then, because if I mess something up, then I do not have to redo everything, just some things. And that's all of them. And after this, there is one more step that we need to do. So I'll clear these out. I'll go back into this. And I will just pick one of the binary indices. I'll go back into here. Now I need to add my binary index. I need to change the group so it is whatever the main group is. At this point, you can change the sort index. You might want to do that depending on, well, it's hard to say a definite value that should go in here, but I will show you later how to change this to your liking. But for now, I'll just want to clone this as many times as I like, or as many times as I need. And in this case, I need 8 of these. You need 1 for each hair you want to enable in catalog, basically. And now what I need to do is I need to copy the instance from each of these hairs over to here. And at this point, don't press commit when changing any of these values. It's enough that you paste it and then you click somewhere and it's going to update. Pressing force commit is generally not a good idea. So you copy over all of these. And the last one is here. And if we sort by instance now, you're going to see that these binary indices are all mixed in with all of the other resources. So we'll take another look in Bodyshop and see what we get now. Here we are back in Bodyshop, and now for the moment of truth. Here is my replacement, but does it actually show up? And here it is. I can now click it. It appears as any other hair. Well, technically at this point it doesn't, but that's what I'm going to show you next. And it appears for toddlers as well. You'll see, however, that it appears at the very start of the base game sorted hairs. And you might want to put this hair more mixed in with the other ones. Like, sure, it does look like any other Max's hair at this point, but if you want to change exactly where it is sorted in the catalog, you will need to change some more details about the 3D ID referencing files and the binary indices. And I can show you how to do that as well. So I'm back in Create a Sim. What is vital here is that I have debug mode on. And if I look at this hair here, I can see a bunch of numbers that maybe don't make a lot of sense to me. But if I look at the bin key, and if you've been paying attention, you'll see that there are 2 values in the bin key. The 0x0FFEFEFEF, yeah, that one, and the 0x0FFE0080. Those are the same values that we put in the collection line of the 3D ID referencing file earlier. If I look at this hair, however, the bin key is different, and you will see that the bin name says hair_female_child. If I look at all of these hairs, they all say female, hair female child, and the same for toddlers. Here's no name. And this one says hair female toddler. So what you want to do is, instead of using the values seen here in the bin key, you want to change them to the values seen here and for the female child hair, respectively. And then the frag sort index, you can see it 0, 4, 8, 12, 16. And these change by hair color as well, but you'll need to change them to something you think is going to fit in well. And that's kind of up to personal preference depending on where you want the hair to appear. The same with children. Well, this one doesn't count, but here is 0, 4, 8, 12, 16, etc. So I can show you how to edit these in a way that makes the hair appear where you want it to appear in the catalog. So I have my file again, and over the years I've put together this handy document with a whole bunch of different bins and their values. So whenever I need one, I usually just copy one over from here. However, you can see where to find them in game if there is one you need. So I will start with the toddler hairs as soon as this is loaded. And I'm gonna copy this value at first. So this one is toddler, so I'll put this here. And something else you can do is, at least for these earlier ones, the ones that are actually called hair underscore gender underscore age, you can put that same value in the text lists because they use the same one. If not, it doesn't really matter, but you can also make sure that you keep one of that same instance in here. But you can also delete it and it's not actually going to affect the function of the file. So I need to find more. This one is toddler, so I'll put this here and here. That's child, here is toddler, and there should be one more toddler, and it's this one. And now I need to copy my other value, and that is going to go in the second place, for instance. And then I need to do the same thing for child. So I get this first value here. I need to find some of the child resources. Put it here. You are child. And this is child. And then I get this last one. And now I need to find them again. So that's child. Here is child. And there was one up here, I think. Paste. And then I can hit save. And now that I've edited these text list lines, there's nothing actually using this one anymore, so I can delete that. And last thing I want to do is I want to change these values so that they appear in where I want them. And I know that for the black hair, for example, I know that the values 0, 4, 8, and 12 are taken already. So let's say maybe I want to pick something in between. So I'll set this one to 6. So I'll pick 6 for the black hair. Then I'll change the sort index to 6. And this one is going to autofill, so there's nothing I need to do there. And same for this one. And then blonde comes after black. The way they appear in game, the bins are black, brown, blonde, red. But since the values they're assigned go alphabetically, it's black, blonde, brown, red. So if this is set to 6, then blonde is going to be 7. So I need to find the blonde resources. You will be 7. This one is also going to be 7. Then we need brown, which is going to be 8. and red, which is gonna be 9. Is there one more red here somewhere? Here. If I had selected higher values, what you need to be mindful of is that these use hexadecimal values. So 10 is not after 9. A is after 9, and then it is B, and then C, and then D, E, F, and then it's 10, 11, 12, and so on. But we'll set this to just 9 for now. Something you can be mindful of, if this isn't working, usually what happens if, let's say, you open the file, you try it in game, it's not working, you open it and you see that the binary indices have disappeared. What you can double check is that you want the last value of this. So here we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and those are lines, well, it's not one of these. Those are lines 0, 1, 2, and 3 of the 3D ID referencing file. And then you want the binary index to continue off of that. So here is 4, 5, 6, and 7. And we go back here and we have 4, 5, 6, and 7. So you can always double check the binary indices to see that they are in fact following directly after the property set. So we have 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we have 4, 5, 6, 7. And of course that can depend on how many groups, like sometimes you add just one group, sometimes you have 3 or even 4 groups. So always make sure that the number in the property set here is followed by the number in the binary index. But I'm gonna head back into the game and I'll show you how this looks when I have them moved around a little. And here we go. My hair is no longer stuck at the front of the base game catalog, but rather it appears organically mixed in with the other Max's hairs. And same for this one. And I can show you if I turn debug mode on that it is in fact now in the hair female toddler bin, and I've changed the frag sort index to something in between these hairs. So now it's gonna appear mixed in with the Max's hairs. It looks like it was always meant to be there and no one can ever tell the difference, except it does kind of stick out a little in a save where no other hairs have been replaced. But yeah, this was a lot. I know that it's maybe a lot to take in if you're not familiar with this process, but I really hope that you guys will find this tutorial helpful. And if there's anything you feel I haven't explained well or that you want further elaboration on, feel free to leave a comment. You can message me on Tumblr. And yeah, that's it for me. Thank you all for watching and happy default replacing.